Hey, thank you so much for buying the 540 hardtop handles. I know you're gonna love them. In this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to assemble them and also how to use it on your Jeep. All right, let's do it. All right, so this is what you'll find in the box. You're gonna find 2 handles, 6 bolts, 6 washers, and 6 vacuum mounts, okay? Also, you'll need either a 9/16 wrench to tighten the bolts or a 9/16 socket with a ratchet, okay? So, all you're gonna do is, I like to just go ahead and set the vacuum mounts underneath the mounts. And all these, the finger pumps are all gonna be pointing down, okay? This is the top of the handle. Everything will be pointing just like this, okay? So go ahead and get your mounts and set them up underneath, just like so. Then you can go ahead and get your bolts with the washers and start threading them into the top of the vacuum mounts. Now once everything is assembled by hand, now you can get out your wrench or your socket and ratchet. For this it's better because you have to get inside this mount here, and go ahead and start tightening them down. And I would suggest just seating the bolts and then going like, maybe like an 1/8 of a turn, just to snug them up. You don't want to go too tight and strip them out. So like seat it, and then like a 1/8 of a turn. That'll do it. And that is it. 2 assembled hardtop removal handles ready to use. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to mount the hardtop handles to your hardtop. And I don't think I need to tell you how important this is. This is very important that you get this right. You got your hardtop hanging off these handles, so as long as you follow these directions and do it step by step, you'll have 0 issues, okay? So first off, the most important thing is making sure that the dust covers always stay on the vacuum mounts, okay? So you've got 3 dust covers, so you want to take all these off, and then so this is for temporary use only. I want you to put this on your hardtop, move it, and then take it off, and then put the dust covers back on it. Don't just let this sit out like this, because if these cups get dirty, you don't want that to happen. You got to clean them. So just use them, use the hardtop handle, put the covers back on it when you're storing it, and then these will stay clean, okay? And the next part is making sure your hardtop is very clean. If you have dirt on your hardtop, then the dirt is going to scratch your paint, okay? Just like if you had dirt on your paint and you rubbed it with your hand, that would scratch the paint. It wouldn't be your hand that would scratch it, it'd be the dirt, right? So same with this. These won't scratch your paint, but if you have something on your paint, then the dirt's going to scratch the paint. Does that make sense? So before you attach these, you want to always make sure that you either wash your Jeep or you just wipe it down with something so there's no dirt, okay? So first thing you want to do is, the way I like to grab it, by one hand on each of the outer vacuum mounts, and just put it up on the hardtop, and that way you can kind of feel where the bottom of the hardtop is to make sure the cup isn't like off the bottom of the hardtop. So if you have your hand there, you can kind of feel where it's going to be at, and you want to make sure that you're not off the edge anywhere, okay? And this is going to take a few minutes for me to explain it, but once you do it one time or twice, then it's going to be very fast for you, okay? But you still always want to make sure you're paying attention. So once this is in place, put a little pressure on it. It's not going to go anywhere. Put some pressure on this middle cup here and start to pump this, maybe like 4, 5, or 6, 7 times, and then now it's partially attached. It's not going anywhere. And then you want to go to each of the outer vacuum mounts and put pressure on those too, so it makes a complete seal around the cup. And then so put pressure on that, and then pump it maybe like 5 or 6 or 7 times, and then it'll be partially attached. And then come to this one, do the same thing, okay? If you're very short, I'm 6 feet tall, so if you're very short, say you're 5 feet, you might need to get a stool to get up here so you can put pressure on this, you know, not to lift it obviously, but just to get it attached. You might have to step on something. If your Jeep is, you know, 6 inches on 38ths and you're 5 feet tall, you might need to get a stool just to get up here and put pressure on it, okay? But anyway, so this one's partially attached. Now we'll go to this one, and I like to grab this handle so you can, so these hardtops are actually curved this way and also this way, right? So you got to put a little bit of pressure on the outer cups to get them to seal, okay? So I like to put my hand here, and you can push on the cup and then pump this maybe like 5 or 6 times, and it's partially attached. Now you can go to this one, do the same thing. Put your hand on here, put a little pressure on it, make sure it's sealed all the way around, and this one's partially attached too, okay? So these little finger pumps here, they have a white line indicator. You're gonna see that on yours. You wanna make sure you pump these until all of them disappear. All those white lines disappear, okay? So just pump all these up, and it'll get to a point where you can't pump them anymore. They're just gonna be disappeared. And the next very most important part before you take off the hardtop is once you attach it and you make sure you pump all these up and the white lines are disappeared, I want you just to sit back for a second and watch watch these finger pumps. If you have something between the vacuum mount and the paint, it'll keep it from sealing fully, and those things will start to rise. The finger pumps will start to rise. If they have 100% attachment, they won't budge. Like these are not moving right now, right? They're not supposed to. But if you do have something blocking the seal of the vacuum mount, then you'll see that finger pump start to rise, right? So that's the indicator that you need to pull this thing off and make sure there's nothing on your paint or on the cup that's keeping it from sealing. Does that make sense? So, but yeah, this thing is good. This thing is super, super solid. It's not going anywhere, right? These things are awesome. For positioning, if it's just you, one person on each side, which is totally doable, that's how we do it, you stand right in the middle. You'd think you have to stand to the front because it has so much over here, but you stand right in the middle and it's perfect, okay? If you do need to have 4 people on this for some reason, you can have you have one person here and one over there. Wherever your hands are going to fit, you have one there and one here. So 2 on this side and 2 on the other. It just depends on how comfortable you are. So once you take off your hardtop, and these are for temporary use. I think I mentioned it already. These are for temporary use only. So I want you to put this on here, move your hardtop, and then take it off. Like, this shouldn't stay on here. When you take it off, put your dust covers back on. The yellow dust covers, put those back on. Make sure they stay on there, okay? But yeah. Oh, to get it off, right? To get it off. There's a little tab on each of these cups, okay? A little black tab. All you do is you'll just pull it, and it'll break the seal, okay? 1, 2, 3. See, that's it. So it really is that simple. There's not much to it, really. It took me a while to explain it, but once you actually put it on there and see how easy it is, it's so freaking easy, okay? You can do it in like probably a minute or less. But I do want to make sure that you clean your paint, and also make sure that you, once you attach the whole thing, make sure the edges of the vacuum mounts are not super close to the edge of here, right? And also make sure that before you take it off, make sure you look at these finger pumps to make sure they're not moving, okay? To make sure there's nothing blocking that seal. If they're not moving, if they're good, you're good to go, okay? So just to recap, let's recap what's very, very important for this. First off, make sure you always keep your dust covers on, okay? Always make sure your dust covers stay on so these cups stay clean. Always make sure your paint is super, super clean. Or your, if you have the textured black factory coating, make sure that's clean. Whatever's here, make sure it's clean, okay? You can't use it on stickers or vinyl wraps or like Linex bed liner sprays. It has to be pretty smooth, but you can use it on the textured black factory Jeep coating, okay? If you've spray painted it, don't use it on that. It's got to be like the factory coatings. What else? Yeah, once you attach this, once you have it attached to the Jeep, before you take off with it, make sure you're watching just for a few seconds. watch these finger pumps and make sure they're not lifting back up. Make sure the seal is good. If the seal is good, then these are going to stay down and it's fully attached. Okay, you don't want to be taken off with it and these things are rising. Makes sense? Anyway, I hope this was very informative. I know it's kind of long, but it's just so important that you do this right. If you have any questions, make sure you reach out to me, email me, text me. I'll put my number below. Message me on Instagram or Facebook, and I can help you with anything you need. All right. Thanks again for purchasing, and we'll talk to you soon.